Hey, Mike, good to see you. How are you doing?
Hi, Nikki. Great to see you as always.
Good. Hey, I'm Nikki Weddle with Nations Network, powered by Keller Williams, and I'm here with Mike Swaleh. He's with Independent Mortgage. And we just wanted to give just a general overlook of the Kirkwood market and really the real estate market in general, just to kind of ease some concerns and really take a deeper dive into what Kirkwood's doing in our local market. So I guess a natural way to segue into this is, Mike, what is an important piece of information that homeowners need to know right now in this market?
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. So, Nikki and I are both Kirkwood homeowners ourselves. And so a couple things that stick out to me as I listen to people in the community talk and as I, watch the news and see the headlines myself is that there's a lot of negativity in the media about the future of the housing market. And this word housing bubble is being thrown out there a lot. And as, our community here goes out and goes to events and talks to their neighbors and goes to dinner parties and has conversations about the Kirkwood market, I really just want people to understand a couple things. Number one, there is no housing bubble nationally. The media is sort of always predicting this, and we'll take a look at that here in a second. But number two is, even if there was, Kirkwood would not be participating because Kirkwood is an outlier. And Nikki, help us illustrate that. What are the current market statistics for Kirkwood right now?
Yeah, so I'm obviously rounding here, but there's about 30,000 people that live in Kirkwood, and that equates to about 11,000 homes, 11,000 residences. Currently, there's only 18 active listings on the market in Kirkwood, in just the city proper of Kirkwood, and 11 of those are new construction. So we really have 7 that are traditional homes, or traditional inventory that's ready to move in now. Some of those are tear down options, because as we know in Kirkwood, the new construction market's pretty prevalent here, but there's not a lot of inventory on the market. And I know this plays hand in hand with the lower inventory, but homeowners are still getting 99.2% of their list price when it sells. It's very strong. I mean, it's down from 102%, 100%. We've been seeing those numbers in Kirkwood since the summer. So it's still a very strong seller's market. We had 9 closings in November. There's not a lot of movement, not a lot of options for the buyers moving in, which is great for the sellers, but it is still also a great time to buy. And I know you have some points here you're going to bring up about why it's still a good time to buy a home in general, because I know that's a concern. If you don't mind,
I'd like to just share this one slide that I got from Barry Habib and MBS Highway. And he put this together, and this is CNBC. This is a trusted news source. And this is one particular news anchor that they have that's been calling a housing bubble every year, hoping to be right. And for those that don't know, real estate prices only go one way over time. They only go up over time, but nothing goes up in a straight line, right? Things go up like this. And so every once in a while, you'll have a dip on the way up. There's only been really one time that we've ever seen a housing market crash, and that was after the housing mortgage crisis of 2008, right? So the media is sort of always predicting a housing bubble because that's what gets people's attention. And we want to, again, remind the homeowners in our sphere of influence here in Kirkwood that they do not have to worry about a housing bubble, especially here in Kirkwood. This just quickly takes you through some of the headlines over the years, literally one per year, where they're predicting a housing bubble and the corresponding appreciation nationally. And keep in mind, Kirkwood has outpaced the national average of that year. So from 2015 through 2021, and how much you would have missed out on by listening to that advice if you thought there was a housing bubble. And we all know people that fell victim to this and said, I'm not going to buy because I'm hearing there's a housing bubble. So this is nothing new. And we just want people to be informed with actual statistics and data and rationability that this is not a housing bubble. You can't have a housing crash when there are 7 available properties to buy in a city of 11,000 houses. That's a fraction of 1%.
It is.
So if you want to sell a house in Kirkwood right now, it's going to be very easy to sell a house in Kirkwood. That's something that, obviously Nikki can help you do relatively easily. And if you're looking to buy, you sort of, it's weird to say it's both a good time to sell and a good time to buy, but it really is, because over the long term, it's always a good time to buy. really the only question is it a good time to sell or not? Because long-term, it's usually a good time to buy because you have demographic information that we have access to that tells you there's going to be years and years to come of appreciation, especially in a market like Kirkwood.
Mm-hmm. And you hear all of this negativity about the higher interest rates. And I know we're basing that on historically low history that we had this year and in the end of last year. So, I mean, you can even touch on what you're predicting for next year, but you don't have to marry your rate. You know, you could always refinance. You can always look at different options that you have to reduce that rate. So what can you touch really quick? I know we're running out of time here, but really on what you're predicting for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, if you did have a family or personal motivation to buy right now, and you're worried about interest rates, we do have tools to fix that for you. And so that's one of those things where just put yourself in the hands of people that you trust, and we will guide you appropriately. We'll help you sort of get tomorrow's interest rates today, because the good news is rates are sort of artificially inflated right now. They are higher than they should be from a market standpoint, and that will work itself out. It always does over time. And so we're really predicting that rates could be in the mid 5s to low 6s next year, you know, down from a high of almost 7.5% this year. So we're going to have a normalization in the interest rate markets. We're not going to go to the artificial lows of years ago, but we are going to return to somewhat normalcy in the 5s, probably worst case in the 6s by maybe Q1, Q2 of next year. So at that point, however, there's a lot of people that are wanting to buy right now, but they're waiting for those lower interest rates. So there's really going to be a flurry of activity when that happens. And for me, the smart money tries to get ahead of that. So we don't have time to dig into that, but if you have more questions about that, I'm happy to talk you through it. I know Nikki is as well. And we're happy to transition this short video into one-on-one conversations.
Absolutely. It's a team effort. And I think it's just great to have a strategy session and all figure out, the options everyone has and what's going on. So I appreciate your time, Mike. Thank you so much. As always, your insight is invaluable. So we'll do this again sometime. I think this is a great opportunity to get in front of everybody and answer questions.
And just deliver a message of hope, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Nikki.
Thank you.